Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday's webinar from Anicca Digital. It's myself, Anne Stanley, today, and Irina Holiday, who is going to be talking about Spotify. We haven't got a poll this morning because we've had a few technical issues. So we're going to dive straight into the presentation. So I'm going to hang around. I'll just turn my mic off. And yeah, Irina, if you'd like to say hello, everybody. Just beneath the slides, you've got a little arrow and you can push it along. Can you see that?
Yes.
Excellent. Over to you. Good luck.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Irina, and today's webinar is about Spotify advertising. Why is it so important to build a trust nowadays, and how does Spotify fit into this? So let's crack on. A little bit about myself. I just started in Anicca about 3 months ago, and I've been in digital marketing over 14 years, which is a bit of a scary number. I am from Russia originally, from a town called Novosibirsk. And if you played the game called Metro Exodus, you probably heard about it. Otherwise, you probably didn't, and it's okay. And the picture on the right is myself and my amazing hellhound. His name is Odin, and he still is a puppy. And on this photo, he's actually only 9 months old, and he's still growing. So he's just as heavy as myself now, and he's going to be heavier yet. He also frequents Anicca office, so if you ever like to meet him, please pop around. I'm sure he would appreciate, seeing new people and some treats as well. So bring treats. So a little bit about Anicca as well. We have a vast experience of working with companies that manufacture or produce their own products. Among our clients, we have brand names like Palex, Charles Bentley, Experian, NHS, and one of the clients that unfortunately is not on this slide, which Odin favors massively, is Pets and Friends. So what we will cover today is, first of all, importance of building the trust nowadays, and how does Spotify come into it. I will talk to you about the platform a little bit, when was it founded, who by, and I will introduce you to it. We will talk about the ad format and targeting options you can use. We will also walk through creating your first ad on Spotify, talk about measuring success, and some of the best practices. Spoiler, people don't like advertising. Advertisements are now so numerous that they're very negligently perused, and it is therefore become necessary to gain attention by magnificence of promises and by eloquence, sometimes sublime and sometimes pathetic. Now, how old do you guys think this quote is? Do you want to try and put some of your guesses in the chat?
I think we may have a bit of a problem with the technology today. So,
okay,
because some people are saying that they are still having trouble with the audio and stuff. So,
okay,
I think you probably have to carry on, and then if people are having problems with the audio, we'll send the video around later on.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
It's a shame we won't be able to do the interactive part.
Well, cliffhanger did not work, so I do apologize. So without further ado, this was said by Samuel Johnson in 1759, 262 years ago. Think about it, 262 years ago, people were already fed up with advertising. And as you can imagine, today is not much better. 74% of people are actively avoiding advertising. 48% of people are using some sort of ad blocking technology. I myself don't, but I know plenty of digital marketing managers who are actually using ad blocking technology for simple reason, because some of the clients that they advertise, some of the clients that they work with, they then end up being served with similar sort of products. For example, I have a friend who is working with a child products client, and she's being served the ads that basically assume her to be a mother, whereas she's not a mother at all. She only has a cat, and she's as child-free as you get, and she just, it's not really relevant for her. So in this case, I can understand why she's got the ad blocking on. So again, if chat would be working correctly, I would ask you if you're using ad blocking technology. I myself don't, simply because I prefer to, to see all the ads and like make a note of, what I think is working, what is inspirational, and I find it really fascinating. 47% of people change their media habits to see less advertising. So now, when I'm going on Facebook and I'm seeing the ad, I'm thinking twice before hitting the button, because I'm thinking like, do I like this enough to, to just go ahead and click on this ad and have remarketing ads served to me in the future? Does it sound familiar to you? If you're in digital marketing, you probably know what I mean. 39% of people have found the ways to avoid almost all ads. And 38% are paying for streaming services like Spotify. So people don't trust the advertising. However, the trust is the key. People are becoming increasingly belief-driven, and they need to trust in the brands they engage with. They want honesty, authenticity, and purpose. If people trust you, they pay attention. So how do we build the trust? The reach and frequency is the key here. Once people have seen your message repeatedly across at least 3 different channels, their trust in it strengthens. So what does this have to do with Spotify? Stay with me. Spotify is #1 most positively talked about brand by millennials that you can advertise on. It's #1 most used mobile app for young people in the UK. And young people in the UK spend at least 2.6 hours a day on Spotify. Spotify also has 14 million monthly active users in the UK. So a little bit about the platform. It was founded in 2006 by Daniel Ek, I really hope I got this last name right, and Martin Lorentzen, also hoping I got this right. The headquarters is in Stockholm, Sweden. Spotify had 345 million users in fourth quarter of 2020. And 155 million subscribers. However, we are right now, at the end of second quarter of 2021, so this number is most likely different already. And considering that at the end of 2020, Spotify had at least 200 million users that are using Spotify for free, now this number is very likely to be bigger. So that is at least 200 million people worldwide that we can advertise to. The estimated market share of Spotify compared to Deezer, Apple Music, etc. is between 32 and 34%. Daily listening times varies from 99 minutes in Europe to 140 minutes in North America. 55% of users in Spotify are under the age of 35. And 70 million songs are on Spotify, with new songs added at a rate of 60,000 a day. So again, by the time we are presenting this, the number is very likely to be different and a lot higher than 70 million. So a little bit of Spotify audience. 51% are using Spotify on their mobile devices, 19% on their tablets, 24% are using it on desktop and web, and 6% of people are using it on some sort of connected device, like, for example, Spotify in their car, or whether it's a gaming console, etc. 100% of people logged in with one identity across multiple devices. 100%. All of us. You can see that Spotify audience is pretty much even between male and female, with a slight, bias towards female. Yeah, Anna's nodding. Yes, thank God. And the majority of Spotify audience lies between 18 to 34 aged people. So music is something that is always with us. Think about it. In the past, I don't know, over a year, especially since the pandemic began, how many times did you leave your house and you just, kind of swore under your breath because you forgot your headphones? I'm guilty of that. I've been there because, I'm an introvert and I'm leaving the house and I realize I don't have my headphones and I'm like, oh my God, what do you mean I have to listen to all the people today? I don't want to do it. I want to listen to my music or my podcast or my audiobook, just anything. And music is always here with us when we're socializing. It's always on the background. When we're working out, when we're running, when we're working, when we're traveling, gaming, cooking, always here. Whether it's music, whether it's podcast, whether it's audiobook you prefer to listen. And Spotify also noticed that it was clear from their data that morning routines have changed significantly. For example, usage of Spotify on desktops and smart TVs gone up by, I think, by double digits. And the usage of Spotify on the mobile devices and the cars have dropped significantly. And every day for people have looked like a weekend. I mean, this is probably about to change back to normal because obviously we're lifting all of the lockdown restrictions. But that's what it was looking like in 2020. So let's have a look at Spotify Ad Studio and the ad formats that are available in this platform. I will cover all of them in details, but to cover the basics, here is the formats that are available for us on Spotify. It's audio, video, the podcast advertising, and something called custom experiences. So let's dive right into it. If you ever use Spotify for free, there's a pretty good chance that you came across audio ads. I remember how they sound like. This is something that plays straight after the song on Spotify. And 75% of Spotify listeners say that they remember ads more than when the ads recognize their moment of setting. There are also video ads. And something that Spotify puts the high emphasis on is that you can be seen and heard through the video ads. Because most of the time when you're browsing platforms like Facebook or Instagram, videos are being played to you on mute. Of course, you can see the subtitles most of the time, but of course, you cannot really understand, the tone of voice or the background music or whatever through the subtitles. It's always better to be seen and heard. So the video ads are available in video takeover format, which is basically being played by a user when they're actively browsing their phone. So if, for example, someone is listening to Spotify on their phone and is in their pocket, video ad is not going to be played. And another format of the video that is available on Spotify is something called sponsored sessions. That is basically offering 30 minutes of uninterrupted listening once you watch the short video ad. And you can see this is one of the screenshots on the left. Podcast ads. Spotify is now home to over 2.2 million podcasts featuring big names like Joe Rogan and Michelle Obama, and some of them are only available exclusively on Spotify now. I think actually Joe Rogan podcasts were taken down YouTube the other day, and now they're only available on Spotify. People make the connection with the podcasts they listen to, and especially with the hosts. So when they hear the ads in the podcast, they trust them more. 25% of Spotify users are listening to the podcast, and 41% of podcast listeners trust ads more if they hear them during the podcast. 81% report having taken action after hearing the podcast ads. Also, now Spotify has something that calls streaming ad insertion. So if my friend and I listened to the same podcast, we would hear the same ad because it was just pre-recorded in the episode prior to the streaming. Now, however, it's not the case anymore. Now, if I and Anne, for example, are listening to podcast, we will hear the different ad. And it also gives advertisers the ability to target people more precisely and get some more insights on their audience, what gender, what interest they are at, etc. And a little bit about custom experiences as well. As you can see on the screenshot on the right, this is something that looks like, basically a banner, and it's called overlay, and it's exactly what it sounds like. On the desktop and mobile, it can be available as a page, homepage takeover or a leaderboard. In order to advertise that, however, you need to get in touch with the Spotify representative. And although Spotify advertising is normally quite cheap, this particular custom experience is something that requires considerably more investing. So we will not focus on that today. Right, so moving on. So how does the magic happen? Let's dive in the Spotify Ad Studio and let me walk you through creating the campaign. So when we're creating our first campaign in Spotify Ad Studio, I myself found that the campaign structure on Spotify is very similar to Facebook. So first we're creating the campaign, then we're creating the ad set, and it can be multiple ad sets within the one campaign, and then we can have multiple ads within an ad set. So when we're creating the campaign, we can choose what we are promoting. It can be either a brand, product, or organization, which is going to be the case probably from 70 to 90% of people here. It can be artist or music on Spotify, or it can be a concert or artist merge. When we are creating our ad set, we can obviously name it. We can then choose the format that we want to use. In this particular case, I'm going to choose the audio format for the reason that Spotify actually helps us to create the audio ad for free. And when we're choosing the video, you always have to upload your own, because unfortunately, Spotify is not helping with video just yet, but this may always change. We can choose horizontal video or vertical video if we want. If we do want to use the video as a format. Vertical video is something that is only available on iOS or Android, and horizontal is available on all of the platforms. Audio is also available on all of the platforms, but obviously we can always customize it if, for example, you only want to target people on the mobile devices or only on the desktops. We can then set our schedule and the budget. So we can tell exactly when do we want our ad to start and finish, the date and time. And when we're choosing the budget, I put £100 here on purpose, just to highlight the fact that Ad Studio has a minimal budget of £250, which is, a lot cheaper than many people think Spotify is. Do you remember this slide about the custom experiences? And like I said, it's considerably more expensive. And a lot of people actually think that Spotify in general is really, really expensive. Well, it's not the case here. £250 budget is something that doesn't have to be spent in some sort of certain time frame and can be spent within a month or 2 months or as long as you wish. There's also something called a custom frequency cap, and it's a relatively new function on Spotify. And we can limit our ads to play for people from 1 till 5 a day, 35 a week, or 50 per month. So we probably don't want to play them only once, or we don't want to play them 50 times. We want to choose something in the middle. So when it comes to the location targeting, Spotify allows us to target people either by country, which is, for example, when we are, if we are entering the country, we can tick the checkbox in the bottom, and we can target the whole country if we want to. We can also target a city, and in this case, I just put London as an example. Or we can target people by postcodes. So, for example, if you are in London and you have a coffee shop, let's say, within a certain postcode, you can target people based on this location. You can also bulk add the postcodes on Spotify, and it will then automatically match it to the areas that it believes are correct. So in my experience, Spotify never got it wrong. But I'm not telling you not to check it. On the contrary, check it just in case, because, well, you never know. So moving on to demographics and interests. By default, Spotify is offering the age from 13 to 65 plus, which we probably don't want to do. So I would suggest, if you know the age of your perfect customer, if you will, I would use it here. If not, this is something that you can access in your Google Analytics in the demographics report, and just go in and check what people of what age are converting most often for you. It's the same thing for gender. So if you're not advertising the products, which is male or female specifically, I would just target both of them. There's also a variety of targeting options available on Spotify. There's interest, real-time context, genres, or no additional targeting. You can of course leave it as no additional targeting, but I'm going to talk you through every targeting option in a minute. So to begin with, the interests. You can target audience based on their interest, as indicated by the recent podcasts or playlist listening, as well as the streaming platform. So, for example, if yesterday I was listening to some gaming-related podcasts, or I was listening to Spotify on my PlayStation 4, I will be likely to hear a gaming ad today. I also highlighted the graph on the right, and it indicates the it indicates the budget delivery likelihood, the estimated impressions, estimated lifetime frequency, and you can also see the cost per impression. So moving on to next targeting option, and this is something that is called real-time context. And this enables us to target people in specific moments, as indicated by the playlist they're currently listening to. So, like I mentioned, if a gaming playlist or gaming podcast something that I listened to yesterday, I can be served the ad today. But if, for example, we would choose real-time context as a targeting option, if I was listening to a gaming playlist or gaming podcast yesterday, this is something that I would hear yesterday as I was listening to it. You can also see that budget delivery likelihood has changed, and so did cost per impression. So another targeting option is genres, and I put just, some of my favorite genres here, but obviously you don't have to go with that. It's just, it depends on what you think your customers are listening to. And again, this is changing the cost per impression and estimated impressions, etc. So one of the things that I think Spotify could still kind of work on is do some sort of combined targeting, because right now you can choose multiple options in each section. For example, I can choose, let's say, metal, indie rock, and whatever in genres, but I cannot choose people who are into gaming and they also like metal. So I think it would be really helpful if Spotify could introduce the combined targeting, but I'm sure this is something that is on their radar and it will be available at some point soon. So when we are creating our first ad, and this is probably my favorite part, simply because Spotify, like I mentioned, is helping you to create your own ad. And you can also see the ad preview on the right. Obviously, it's blank now, but it's not going to be in a minute. So let's dive right into it. When we are uploading or when we are creating our first ad, you can see that Spotify can either help you to create your own, or you can use your own ad. So you can by all means use your own ad. However, Spotify creates your ad for free, and it sounds rather professional. And this is something that I know can get like really expensive, because you have to hire a voice actor, and you have to get this suitable music, etc. So when we are asking Spotify to help us to create the ad, one of the first thing is we need to choose the background track. And we can either upload your own, and if you do, please make sure that you have rights to use it, just in case, or you can choose one from the library. And Spotify is offering the variety of background tracks in their library, as you can see on the screenshot on the right. So some of the genres they are available on Spotify are acoustic, electronic chill, and if we would scroll down a little bit more, we would see some pop, rock, rap, some other easy listening, etc. We then need to give Spotify a voiceover script. And this is something that Spotify offers as just as an example to give you an idea what voiceover script could sound like. And your voiceover script can be up to 70 words. One of the best practices for Spotify is between, I think, 55 and 70 words. I actually cover that in the next slide, so I might stand corrected. So this is a really good example of the ad. It says, "Hey Boston, National Yoga Day is next Sunday." So it's really nice and conversational. It's personalized just enough so we know that the person is in Boston and they're very likely to be into yoga. Like, for example, they are, they have interest in fitness and sport, and they've been listening to some yoga or meditation related playlists, etc. And it has a nice kind of offer. Saying that the drinks that they advertise start as low as 99 cents, and the call to action that basically says tap the banner to find Cody's beverages near you. When we're creating the first ad as well, we can choose the language and the voice profile that we want to use for the ad. So one of the things I really like about Spotify that they made sure to include several different English languages, English accent even, English languages, why did I say that? So you can choose either English or Irish or New Zealand, North American accent, whichever suits best for your audience. And you can then choose the voice profile, which can be either male or female, anywhere from teenager to senior. You can also listen to voice profile example, just so you have a better idea what your ad is going to sound like. And you also can leave the instructions for the voice actor on this step. For example, you can tell them to either read your script a little bit slower or a little bit faster in a serious tone or more kind of a beat tone. So this is what the final ad would look like, and I really hope that Anne does not mind me using her picture here. So you can either use your own image or choose one from a library. Spotify basically can offer almost everything in their library. So I chose this one for digital marketing survey with the amazing picture of Anne. And we can also choose the call to action button here, which in our case is sign up because it's for webinar. The call to action language, which is obviously English, and it says United States, but it doesn't matter much because it's just the same for every English. When we're adding the click-through URL, make sure that you include UTM tag. simply because if you want people to complete some sort of action on your website, you want to be able to then log into Google Analytics and see how people that are coming from Spotify are behaving on your website.
Could you just explain what UTM code is, please, Irina? Because there'll be quite a few people who either now or watching this in the future won't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, so UTM tag is something that you add in the end of your URL, which is basically indicates the source, the medium, and the type of the campaign you're running. And this is something that enables you to be able to see your traffic in Google Analytics. So if I had a chance to share my screen, I would I would gladly do it, and I would show you the URL builder tool from Google, and this is something that you can just go and Google yourself. Actually, maybe I can just URL builder. Maybe this is something that I can just send in the chat because it will be a little bit easier.
There's even one on the Anicca site. I'll put the link in for that one while you're.
Oh, there you go. You should have told me, Anne, because then I would just.
It's quite hidden, I must admit.
Cool. So on this tab, we can also include the advertiser's name, which is in our case Anicca Digital, and the tagline that shows our customers and gives them better idea of what is it we are doing. So in our case, again, it's free digital marketing webinars. So after that, we can submit the ad, and this is what we are going to see once our ad is submitted, and it says pending approval. So once this is done within 24 to 48 hours, Spotify will get back to us and offer the ready audio ad, which we can either approve or ask them to revise it and change either the pace or the voice actor or the background music. Basically, anything you're not happy with, Spotify will be able to change it for free. So when it comes to measuring success, and I know this is not the best screenshots, I do apologize because unfortunately I use the Spotify from my personal account to just take all of the screenshots. But as it says on the screenshot, the charts will start populating 24 hours after your ad becomes active. So you will be able to see the impressions, reach, the completion rate, and if you scroll down a little bit, you will be able to see the breakdown by devices, genders, the interest, etc., whatever targeting you chose. So to cover some of the best practices on Spotify, and I cannot stress this enough, be clear and be memorable. Ads that are personalized to the listener will get a higher level of engagement. For example, if you're targeting people in Leicester, start your ad with, "Hey Leicester." If you're targeting people in Nottingham, say, "Hey Nottingham." If you're targeting people in Arnold, say, "Hey Arnold." Hey Arnold, I'm pretty sure there's a cartoon, "Hey Arnold." Oh, never mind. Make sure you include some kind of special offers or promotional codes in your message. So right now, people like some any kind of freebies, and sometimes when people don't see any sort of discounts, any sort of incentives to go to the website and complete the purchase, they almost feel like they're overpaying. So make sure you include some sort of promotion or discount code. And for the 30-second ad, yeah, I was right, it's between 55 and 70 words, and Spotify recommends to keep the pace even throughout the ad. So some of the other best practices is, first of all, know your audience and match your music. For example, you probably don't want to target someone who listens to heavy metal and offer them tickets to Britney Spears' concert. I mean, you can try, but I probably would not recommend that. Make sure you introduce yourself. It does sound obvious, right? But I think at least 10% of Spotify advertisers don't actually mention their brand name on Spotify. Say it more than once. make sure that you have a frequency 3 to 5 per user per week. So don't just play your ad once and disappear. Have a clear call to action. Obviously, it's quite different for Spotify than other platforms. For example, you wouldn't if you're advertising only on mobile, you probably want to say tap on the banner rather than click on the banner. And if you want people to complete a certain action on their website, whether it's applying a code on the checkout or go and find a certain location or just, go and check out certain event, make sure you say it in your ad. And lastly but not least, have fun. Keep your tone conversational. People want to have, people are on Spotify because they're having fun. Have fun and engagement tone. And don't be too serious. So some of the key takeaways from today is, firstly, Spotify is a great platform to improve your brand trustworthiness because it's #1 most positively talked brand by millennials. It's easy to start advertising on this platform because minimal budget, to be frank, is really low. Spotify helps you to create your first ad, all for free. And make sure you follow the best practices and reach your audience in the right place and right time. And that was everything. Thank you. I'm happy for you to ask any questions you may have.
So it doesn't look like we've got many questions in the chat. I know there's quite a lot of people had some technical problems, but I think the thing is we can record this and send it around. So that's great. Thank you so much, Irina. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I've been dying to use Spotify for ourselves. So I think that's just definitely something that we will be using quite soon. I know that we've been doing quite a lot of podcasts, ads and things like that, and it's great to hear that you can set a lot of that up through Spotify. So thank you very much for that. I just was going to talk about what's happening next week. So next week is slightly unusual in that I'm talking about the digital skills gap with the Chamber of Commerce, and it's at 2 to 3 o'clock instead of 9 o'clock. So the normal 9 o'clock webinar won't be happening. So if any of you are interested in that, I've absolutely no idea if it's going to work, but there is a pop-up just coming now. So if you want to click on that, you can then register for that webinar as well. Brilliant. Well, look, have a happy Friday, everybody. I'm sorry about all the technical issues today. As I said, we've run over 70 webinars plus another 40 or so on our conference, and it just happens to be Irina's day that it breaks. I'm sure it's nothing personal, Irina, but I know that you were very nervous, and that doesn't help when all the technology breaks. But you did a brilliant job. So thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
Bye.